Alrighty, we're going to continue to saute this. So the most asked question in the Facebook group that I run, which is called Indian Food Lovers Curry Club, is that what is a good curry? We love curry. How can we cook curry? And so, like I said, curry is nothing but a combination of the aromatics that we go for. It's a combination of the whole spices, cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, could be mace, nutmeg, depending on what you're cooking. When we cook those, along with onions or tomatoes, and onions and tomatoes, either or, ginger, garlic, aromatics, and then we blend it in with powdered spices like coriander seed powder, etc. That's when we get a good curry, okay? And curry is just the sauce, it's a base. Traditional Indian cooking has very many variations of curry depending on the region where you're eating from. But if you eat food in an Indian restaurant, there are primarily 4 kinds of mother sauces. One is a red curry, which is used for your chicken tikka masala, paneer makhni, etc. The second sauce that is very popular is the yellow gravy, which is used for malai kofta, dum aloo, matar paneer, etc. The third sauce is a white korma sauce, which is a combination of cashews, almonds, and boiled onions and cream. That is used for dishes like navratan korma, paneer korma, etc., shahi paneer. And then the fourth kind is the spinach sauce, which is the green sauce, which is made by sauteing, blanching, and then blending spinach. So those are the 4 mother sauces in any Indian restaurant. Okay. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the comments. It's kind of hard because the lettering is really, really small. Sunita, let me know if you can hear me on Facebook or not. That's the problem that they were having before. If not, just skip over to TikTok. My TikTok page is Queen's Curry Kitchen, and you'll be able to see this live demonstration right there. Okay, so now the color of the onions is changing. Like I said, this is the part that takes the most amount of time. So let me actually use this time to introduce myself. I am Nupur, or Chef Nupur, whatever you want to call me. I am the owner of Queen's Curry Kitchen, a plant-forward meal-based meal delivery service in New York City, serving New York City, Queens, and Long Island. I also teach Indian cooking to people who love flavors. I teach Indian cooking online. I also write books on the subject. If you head over to my website, you'll see the many ebooks that I have to my credit. There's books about Indian breads. There are books about Indian rice recipes. There are also books about Indian curry secrets of how curries are made in restaurants. And there are also books about spices, how to use them in omnivorous recipes. So there's a lot of information out there. Also on the website, there is a free recipe download for a chana masala that you can get from there. If you get to the website queenscurrykitchen.com and scroll all the way down, you will get an option of the recipe download, and it's a chana masala recipe. It does not require you to have 50,000 ingredients that you gotta buy from the supermarket. It's just a very achievable recipe with easily available ingredients, and it could be your icebreaker to Indian food. Let me go and open the window before my whole house starts to smell like onions. I'll be right back. Okay, so Rini, Arnita, Afnita is watching, Sanila Jain is watching. Welcome, welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Sanila, if you're vegetarian, I apologize. We are making a chicken curry, so it might not be the most pleasant thing to watch for you, but thank you for hanging in there and thank you for being with us. I appreciate that. Hey, Irene, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Elsa, Irene, everybody from TikTok that's out here. Butter Pecan, welcome, welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. We are making a very basic home-style chicken curry today. If you haven't followed this page, go follow this page and turn your notifications on so that whenever I am live, again, it will notify you so you don't miss out on any of the fun. We have some really nice content on the live coming up. Starting the new year, I've already filled out the content calendar for what all I'd like to include. And I'm telling you, if you love Indian food, or if you love cooking at home, if you love making different dishes for your loved ones, you should totally follow this page. There's a lot of free content. All the cooking is done in real time, so it's not like I'm trying to squeeze everything into a 1-minute video where you don't have a real sense of how much time it's going to take for you to make something. Jean, good morning. Victoria Martinez, Martin, good morning, and welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. William, good morning, good afternoon. Wherever you're tuning in from, it's about 12:45 New York time where I'm at, and I don't know where you're tuning in from, but let me know whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it may be. Okay, so this step does definitely take a little bit of time. What is your memory of a good curry dish that you've either eaten at a restaurant or somebody's house? Do you have friends that are Indian? Do you have neighbors that are Indian? Did you go to any Indian wedding? What's been your experience? All right, so we have someone whose last name is Curry. Woo, woo. Joanne, welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. We also have Raven, we have Mary. Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. I appreciate you trying to spend your time with me and learning something in the process. We are making a basic home style chicken curry today. The hardest part, the time consuming part, is caramelizing these onions and getting them to be a golden brown. I started off with putting ghee in the pan, and then I added my aromatics, bay leaves, cardamom, cinnamon, and black cardamom. Then in went the onions. They're thinly sliced onions that went in. And now I'm just caramelizing them. Midway through the process, when they became translucent, I added ginger and garlic that I had found in a mortar and pestle, not in a blender. Okay, so we got that going. It is kind of changing color, and you'll see that it's also shrinking down. So that's what we're going for. The more they break down, the tastier your curry is going to be. Some of the other prep that I have done is I've got chicken that I've washed nicely and then coated with salt, turmeric, and lemon juice, and I've kept it ready. This is chicken on the bone. Whenever you make a curry dish and you want it to be flavorful and aromatic, try to use chicken on the bone, or any kind of meat that's on the bone is definitely more delicious, more tasty, and more flavorful than something that's boneless. If you're cooking with boneless chicken, add a cube of chicken bouillon or chicken powder or chicken stock to your dish so that you'll get the aroma. I also have 1.5 large tomatoes that are ready to go. I will be adding some potatoes to my dish. If you don't like potatoes, you can skip it, but the way my mom makes it is like this. She also does a stew version where she adds carrots and potatoes to the chicken, especially if we're sick. Then she makes like this really light soupy version of it, and that's what we like. Good morning, Armen, Adela, Amoret, June, Raven. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions about what I'm cooking, if you have any questions about Indian food in general, drop it down in the comments below, and I'm happy to answer them for you. We were just going over some of the spices that we're going to use in the actual curry, and they comprise of coriander seed powder, turmeric, red paprika or Kashmiri red chili powder. I'm using Himalayan pink salt. You can use any salt of choice. A little bit of dry fenugreek herbs, some garam masala, some chaat masala, and not to forget some Indian curry powder. I'm going to use Kitchen King, which has a very characteristic Punjabi taste it'll give to your dishes if you use that. It also comes when you order the masala box from my website. This automatically, all these spices will come if you're ordering the fully loaded box. If you want just the empty box, you can get that as well. It's fully stainless steel, washable, and you can clean it as you go along. It helps you to take out small portions of your spices and put them in a box so that you don't have to expose your spices to moisture or heat. Okay, so this is caramelizing. It's looking nice and golden. It could cook down a little bit more, so I am going to give it a few more minutes. For those of you who've been sticking around with me since the beginning, I know it can get a little boring to wait for the onions to cook, but you know what, it's a very important step. Now the question I often get is whether we should use white onions or red onions for your curry. Here's the way to look at it. Try to understand what kind of finished look do you want for your curry. If you want your curry to be a little bit on the yellow side, then you're definitely going to go with the white onions or the Spanish onions or the Vidalia onions. If you want your curry to have a deep dark color, let's say you're making a chicken korma or a lamb korma, not the Lucknowi sweet korma, but the brown korma, which is the Pakistani korma, then you definitely want to go with the red onions. If you're making an onion pulao where you really want the color of the rice to change and become a dark brown. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Tim. Happy New Year to you too. We are approaching the New Year very rapidly. I will be taking some time off to party and to have a good time, but then 1st Jan and we are kicking right back into motion, and I will have a lot of recipes for you. I'm cooking on the live practically every day during the first month. It's also Veganuary or Veganuary, whatever you want to call it. If you're trying to turn vegan, if you're trying to do more vegetarian or plant-based dishes in your diet, I will be doing an entire month of vegetarian food in January every day on the live. So definitely follow this page and don't forget to turn on your notifications so that whenever I go live, you will get everything that you need to know, and you'll get notifications so you won't miss out any of the fun. For those people that are on Facebook, if you want to join our private club, it's called Indian Curry Lovers. It's a Facebook group. There is a lot of exclusive content coming for the Facebook group. There will be giveaways in that group. There will also be exclusive recipes and live videos. You'll also get links to all of the books, and I'm trying to start a spice club, so I have there will be special pricing for people who are a part of the curry club for all the products that we're going to come out with. So definitely stay in the loop. Don't miss out. I needed to order your delicious food again. Yes, Tim, whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'm going to be back in full swing in the new year. So pick any Tuesday or Wednesday of the week and I'm going to bring it to you. Not a problem at all. Okay, so now this is as brown as I'm going to allow it to be. I don't want it to be black because I don't want my curry to have a black or a dark brown hue. This is nicely caramelized. It can go more if you want more depth of flavor, but I feel for the purpose that I'm going for, this is plenty. It's almost like a beige-ish gold, okay? How many onions? I had about 5 large onions, and also the chicken that I'm cooking is about 4 to 5 pounds. Okay, so the onions that I used were this big. Also, cook by intuition. Try not to be married to recipes, because when you cook by intuition, you can calibrate your recipes to the season and what is coming into your farmer's market. It's just such an intuitive way of cooking and being in touch with your medium. Do not be afraid to tweak recipes that you see in books and magazines to suit your palate. If your family doesn't like a certain ingredient, feel free to leave it out. And if they like something, if you like parsley instead of cilantro, hey, put parsley. Like, who is going to tell you you can't do that? Okay, so just make it your own. Don't be bound and bogged by what the recipe says. It's great to have a recipe to follow as a blueprint, but make it the exact same way the first time, and then after that, it's just totally open to variations. My effort as a culinary instructor is to encourage people to eat simple home-cooked meals in their homes at least once a week, at least twice a week. Families that dine together definitely shine together. It's the dining table where these conversations happen and memories are made, so don't overlook that, especially if you have small children and you feel like, oh my God, it's a lot of work. When are they going to grow up? Trust me, when they grow up and leave your nest, you feel like, oh my God, I don't even want to make anything anymore because I don't want to eat alone, right? So make the most of it. If you have little kids, absolutely cook for them, cook for yourself, treat yourself right. It's the best act of self-love that you can give yourself, is to cook a good, nutritious meal yourself. When you go and eat in restaurants, you oftentimes don't know the kind of oil that they're using, the kind of salt that they're using, how fresh the food is or not, whereas if you cook it at home, you know exactly what went in, right? Now, the next thing that's going to go in here is the tomatoes. Okay, this is 2 very, very large tomatoes that I've put, but I didn't put 2 entire tomatoes. I only put 1.5 because they were huge. Okay, now with the tomatoes, I am going to also add a store-bought tomato paste. You can do a tomato puree as well. Whatever you have works. That's going to help you to give it that nice deep red color, and it's going to give you that nice tang. You want to wind up over there and do the table? Okay, so just give it a gentle stir. One more thing about tomatoes, whenever you have fresh tomatoes that you're using in your recipe, add the salt for the entire dish on top of the tomatoes. So it's going to do two things for you. It's going to help to draw out the moisture from the tomatoes and give you a nice base for your curry. So all the liquid part is going to start coming out. At the same time, the oil is starting to pull out from the onions. When the caramelization goes past a certain point, you'll see that the oil will start to ooze back out from the onions. So we've added ghee, but ghee, oil, whatever fat you've put in is going to start coming back out from the onions. Just give it a gentle stir. And then we're going to cover it for a few seconds. I'm also going to put some water to boil so that when I actually make my curry, I'll have hot water that I'll add to the pan or the pot. So it's not going to bring down the cooking temperature of my pot, okay? Alright, so just quickly I'm going to cover it. I added the entire salt for the dish at this time. Also remember that we've added salt to the chicken as well. We don't want too much salty. We don't want our food to be too salty, so the best way to control it is to add it here and then add the chicken back to this curry. Taste it and check if it's the right consistency or not, okay? Now we're going to get some water to boil. You can do it in electric kettle or you can put hot water from your sink or whatever. I'm just going to plug in my kettle. It just makes everybody's life really easy, especially when you have to cook a curry dish and you need a lot of liquid. Okay, so the tomatoes themselves will also draw out a lot of liquid after being hit with the salt. No, that's only, it's not mustard on the chicken. I've marinated the chicken with salt, turmeric, and lemon juice. That's all I've put in, okay? Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for the likes. Let me show you the chicken up close. This is chicken on the bone. And it's got turmeric and salt and lemon juice. That's all I've added. No mustard. Okay, I'll give you a scenario. I'll show you what the tomato starts to look like when you cover them and you add the salt, okay? Oh my God, it smells heavenly in here. I wish you could smell this thing. Okay, now the tomatoes will start to break down because the salt already went in. You see this? And now this, just the onion thing will start looking like a paste. You can break down the tomatoes with the back of your spatula. If you want really good flavor and not too much of the tomato skin, add plum tomatoes. That gives a really nice flavor. Also depends on what season you are cooking it in and what you have available. When you add a little bit of the canned tomatoes or a tomato paste or puree from a can, you are somewhat guaranteed the consistency and taste, because tomatoes in December do not taste the same as tomatoes in July, at least not in New York, right? So be very mindful of the seasonality of ingredients. The interesting thing is that before the coming of the, before colonization, Indian curries did not have any tomatoes because tomato was never grown in India as a traditional crop. Rice, yes, you want to have rice with this. You want to have rotis with this. You want to have bread. Sometimes you can even just do like a nice homemade sourdough loaf and then do a good chicken curry and dunk it in. So you see how it's becoming pasty almost? It's going to get to a point where all of this is going to homogenize, right? So it's all going to become one. Just continue to get in there from time to time and break it down with the back of your spatula. It certainly helps. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the powdered spices, because there is some kind of a liquid action going on over here. Whenever you're adding spices to oil, make sure they are whole spices. When you want to add powdered spices, you can only add it when there is some kind of liquid. Okay, so I'm going to add coriander seed powder. This is called dhania powder in Hindi. A little bit of garam masala. A little bit of chaat masala. This is paprika or Kashmiri red chili powder. You can add cayenne pepper if you like heat. My family doesn't eat any heat. And this is actually something I'm making for my restaurant staff to remind them of home. So this is going to go back to them. This is turmeric. I already have turmeric in the chicken, but I'm going to add just a little bit more. Turmeric is also really great antiseptic. So if you washed your chicken or your meat or your fish and you add some turmeric to it, it helps to kill all the germs in it. So a combination of washing it with the lemon juice and turmeric is just really a really great idea. Okay, so it almost becomes like a paste. Continue to cook it. My heat is on medium to medium high. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes. The reason I'm adding it is because when I sear the potatoes, it's going to take away... Yes, my house smells really nice right now. Well, I do have to, after I clean up my kitchen, I do have to light incense and I have to put a scented candle. Otherwise, when I come home after 8 hours, that the aroma changes greatly and it just smells like tomatoes and onions, and that's really, ugh. At the end of the day, it's not a good lingering smell, but when it's being cooked, it's a great smell. My neighbors tell me that all the time. Hey, Shelly, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. I appreciate you spending the time with me. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of potatoes, and I'm going to add just a splash of water to cook out the potatoes, just a little bit. And also it'll prevent your powdered spices from burning, right? So whenever you have any kind of powdered spices, make sure there is either a broth or a liquid or something in the pan so that it's going to prevent the powdered spices from burning. We are going to continue to sear the potatoes and build this curry base, which is the paste. Okay, you love Indian food, well, you just have to follow my page. I make all these dishes all the time, and I'm always very generous with what I show on the live feed. I try to do many more. I'm trying to do many more live videos in the coming year, so you'll actually be in touch with whatever's going on. Yes, so Tim, you can make this absolutely with soy. You can make this with mock chicken. You can make this with tempeh. You can make this with mushrooms. You can make this curry with tofu and vegetables. So just learn the technique. It's a basic curry. You can do so much with this. Also, tea haze. Oh, you didn't know about that about turmeric. What about it? Oh, yes, never add it to oil. You have to always add it to water. And whenever you add turmeric, you have to add black pepper to your food to help with the absorption of turmeric. That's just really, really important. So if you cook with turmeric a lot, definitely add black pepper to your food to help with the absorption of turmeric. This is the secret that helps your body to absorb the turmeric. Okay. Alrighty. Sippy, come and put salt in these Karelas, please. And then maybe we'll fry them tonight. Okay, so this is coming along. I am going to cover this back up again. I did put the kettle to boil so that it's nice and hot water when we have to. Just gonna cover it for a few seconds. The time for adding the chicken is coming up, so hang in there, be patient. The other herb that I'm going to use for aromatics, now only two are left. One is the curry powder, which is the Punjabi masala, which is called Kitchen King, and then the other one is the dry fenugreek herb. When you order the masala box from my website, you get all of this, you get all these spices in little packets that you can then just empty into these ramekins. They are perfectly measured to fill the ramekins, so it's perfect. If you want to get the masala box without the spices, you can choose to do that as well. Okay, you can do that. Alrighty, so I think this has been going on for a while. How do you know that your curry is ready to move on to the next step? The way you'll know it is that all of the oil will separate from the actual paste of the curry. While you keep searing it, all of this oil is going to start leaving the pan. So right now you can't see any oil, but it's still moving as one homogeneous lump, so it's really getting there. Till the time your curry is scattered, you know that it needs to be cooked a little more and cooked a little more. But when it starts to move together as one, like this, and it starts to release oil, you'll know that it's ready for the next step. I'm using a non-stick wok, but you can use something which is cast iron or even earthenware or whatever, and that works. Okay,